Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. It is me, Jordan Young, and this is another Boston Certified Hood Classic, no cap on God. Today we've got a few sneaky sneaker news stories to catch up from the week that has passed us now by, including Adidas taking some pretty clever little shots at Nike over a bust-up on the court, shoe-related of course. We're also going to recap the Nigel Sylvester Air Jordan 4 release that went down this week. And could we be getting the absolute best sneaker of all time, arguably, in the form of the 85 Chicago ones? All of these stories and plenty more coming up right now. Right, so let's recap this week's biggest sneaker releases, starting off with the Jeff Staple collaboration with Brooks on the GTS4. This collaboration has been good to see because Brooks as a brand don't really have that much sway with sneakerheads. They're better known in and amongst the whole running community. Brooks are the types of shoes that you really don't want to buy based on the aesthetics, but you end up getting forced into buying them after you have your gait analyzed by a running expert at a running store. Also had the release of the Air Jordan 9 Cool Gray. This is, I think, I could be wrong, someone can correct me in the comments. I'm sure some of you guys out there will relish the opportunity to correct me in the comments, as some people often do. But I think this might be the only colorway of the Air Jordan 9 that MJ actually wore on court. This release goes all the way back to 2002. But the release of the week, no doubt, were the Air Jordan 4 Nigel Sylvester's, the brick by bricks. These things have been getting hyped up over the past few weeks massively. There's been a whole bunch of promo. We've seen a whole bunch of videos where these things have been the targets of thieves, whether it's like legit thieves or maybe staged thieves. These were pretty limited from what I've been able to gather. I've seen some numbers out there floating around the 50K mark, so really limited drop for this particular pair. All the raffle releases are pretty much out there. I think there might still be one open, which is 7 store, if you guys wanted one more chance to come up on another L. How did I go? Pretty happy to announce I managed to hit on these on the Nike sneakers app, and some of you guys might be thinking, bro, this guy has got a hotline to Nike at this point. I don't actually, but I have had some pretty good luck on the Nike sneakers app so far this year, most notably the Galaxy Foams I came up on, as well as the Kobe 6 Protros. But yeah, very limited. The resale prices right now are kind of hovering around £350 in my size. I'm seeing on eBay, which is around the cheapest, to buy now on StockX is $374, so about £400 after fees. That's around about $450 USD. So not like crazy high like we might have thought they could have been when we initially saw this, because people have been talking about this sneaker in shoe of the year type terms. I think it's way too early to call it, but I think in terms of the colorway, in terms of the storytelling, in terms of Nigel being a really hot collaborative commodity at the moment, these sneakers tick all the boxes. So I'm excited for these to land. They should be arriving maybe later on today or tomorrow. So as soon as they land, I'll be bringing you guys my full, unadulterated, unfiltered, amazing review. But did you guys come up on anything this week? Feel free to let me know down below. Right, let's get into the news. I want to start off with a couple of interesting stories around these Year of the Mamba Kobe 5. So apparently this past week, Nike have sent out free pairs of these to random people who had simply tweeted about the shoe. And some of the people posting about receiving these sneakers have posted in very surprised and nonplussed ways. Check out this post here. I was just about to leave my house to run errands, and I find on my doorstep these. Got so confused because I don't remember ordering anything, the way I screamed when I opened the package up. So, you know, all of this surprise and wonderment, this person said, would never have expected something like this to show up at my door. Now, is this legit, or is this just low-key promo? Because let's say you did tweet about the Year of the Mamba Kobe 5s. How on earth did Nike know where to send these sneakers? Bro, this seems to me to be a little bit sus. What's more likely, at least in my opinion, is that people have tweeted, then Nike have just hopped in the DMs and said, hey, we'd love to send you something. Can you send us your address? You send them your address, and then boom, you get the Year of the Mambas. That's, at least to my mind, what's happened here. What do you guys think? Now, the same shoes feature in the next story, where a guy who's playing in the Turkish basketball league gets absolutely crossed up here when his man goes between for a little bit of a step back jump shot, and in not only getting his ankles completely broken, he breaks apart the shoes. The midsole essentially separates from the upper, not giving a particularly good look to the robustness of the sneakers. And it was Adidas who decided to take to Instagram to fire some not too subtle shots in response to Turkish Airlines Euroleague's post saying never seen that before, with the video in question posted underneath. Adidas have posted some superior replacements featuring a whole bunch of the March Madness Adidas sneakers that are set to drop imminently now. And so that is an absolute no-brainer take from Adidas, capitalizing on this, has to be said, disaster look for Nike and the Kobe 5. So last week we spoke about this breaking news that there was another maniere Air Max 95 on the horizon. There hadn't been much in the way of release information offered up at the same time as the leak of the photos. But now, if you want to cop these, you can actually go onto the maniere website right now and register for the EQL raffle. Right now, they've been up there for a couple of days. There's also a raffle available for the Air Jordan 3s, as well as a women's pair of the Air Force 1s. Right, some very exciting news for Air Jordan 1 fans. Well, maybe, I probably shouldn't bait it so early. We've had a first look over the past few days at a potentially really exciting sneaker. These are the Air Jordan 1 Chicagos, given the 1985 treatment. Now, first thing to say is that apparently this is just a promo pair. There aren't any plans currently for a release. So even though these exist, these are a thing, they look beautiful, it has to be said. The paper and the packaging looks to be commensurate with the recently released breads, which came with the extra paper and stuff like that, if you guys remember. So there is some strong grounds to potentially expect these to release, but at the moment, yeah, I don't know. There was also a pretty interesting release that went down today, I think via the Undefeated website, for the Nike Kobe 6 Dodgers colorway, alongside a whole bunch of baseball clobber as well, including some protective catcher's gear, I think, as well as the slides. From what I've seen, these sneakers are set to wheel out via Nike and potentially other retailers at a later date. But yeah, did you guys manage to come up on the whole Undefeated raffle? Feel free to let me know. Asia Wilson's Nike A1 is set to debut this May, coming out in this pretty hot pink colorway. I have heard a lot of people out there talking about her own signature shoe being long overdue. I think the silhouette of the shoe is really nice. It's pretty similar to a lot of the other type of low top basketball sneakers that we're seeing, particularly from signature athletes out there. They have her logo on the tongue, they've got her signature on the back of the sneaker. They look clean, man. Yeah, what are you guys thinking about these? Had a really good look at the next Air Max 1 Poly. This is the Big Head Origins release, inspired by the Donkey Kong character. 150 bucks. This release is set to go down on the 21st of March. And I think of all the Poly shoes that we've seen so far, these are definitely the wildest, the most out there. All part of this whole dot swoosh program, so no doubt there's going to be some kind of a rollout where you either need to interact with the app or play a game or something like that. I think they're pretty cool, but I'll probably skip out on them personally. We've seen another colorway of the Supreme Nike Air Max 1. We've seen so far the black colorway, which is pretty much an all black Nike Air Max 1 with the white swoosh on the mid panel, and then the little mini swoosh around the front of the mudguard, and then a little Dubré. And not to be outdone in terms of the basicness, we've now seen an all white colorway. All white with the same types of little details, including the little mini swoosh at the front, with a little pop of contrast. To be fair, there's a little Supreme box logo on the tongue, just nestled beneath the swoosh. Now there are supposed to be 4 colorways, and they're coming out alongside a whole bunch of other Nike clobber as well, including some tracksuits. Don't have any reads on any of the other colorways, and no firm release dates, although they're probably going to be right around the corner because I am seeing spring. But yeah, pretty basic, but pretty clean. So I'm pretty excited about this particular golf shoe. I can't lie, the more I look at these, the more I actually fancy a pair. And it's not just because I am a big fan of Allen Iverson. I actually think the question low transferring over to a golf shoe, particularly a golf shoe like this in the more kind of like classic build sense. I'm thinking FootJoy is an absolute W move. So these are dropping on March the 25th. It's the Reebok Question golf shoe. They're $180. 25th is the release date. We've seen Iverson himself, I think, out there on the course rocking these where they look pretty cool. We've already seen the red colorway, but now we've got a black colorway coming out as well. And I've got to say, they look fire. They've got the whole makeup of the Question Low, which almost has a similar type of lacing aesthetic to the Air Jordan 11s. They've also got that whole little patent leather type vibe on the toe cap, although in this case it's not patent leather, it's just your regular tumbled leather. And yeah, just the aesthetic itself I think looks really classy and works really well. So if these are going to come out over here in the UK, I think I'm going to go ahead and try and get myself a pair to break out on the course this summer. Giannis Antetokounmpo is the latest Nike basketball athlete to leak his own next sneaker. And you guys might remember it was a little while ago, Ja Morant had gotten a little bit hacked off at his own sneakers being leaked by randoms on the internet. He kind of made it his own little general purpose in life to make sure that any leaks of his own sneakers would be coming from himself, sat within the meetings wherein the products were no doubt presented to him. And you get the same vibe with this whole leak from Giannis Antetokounmpo, where he's seemingly sat down with the design team and his manager and the execs from Nike as they talk him through the latest designs, as well as the colorways, as well as how they all relate to him and his persona and his character and blah, blah, blah. And he's just sat there like, yeah, thank you very much. Let me have the shoe. Let me just post these on the gram for everyone to see. I actually think this colorway here is fire. I think the silhouette is fire. These almost give me a little bit of LeBron 12 energy. If you guys remember that sneaker, you'll know what I mean. I think these look really tough. And apparently these are going to be coming in at something like $110, which is a pretty good price point. We've had our first look at a pretty exciting sneaker for some people out there, maybe some of the females out there or some of the Kim K fans, or even just people that are fans of pink. These are pretty fire. These are the airmax 95 pink foams. You guys will remember not long after Kim K and Ye split up, Kim K was wearing Nikes again, and she posted a whole bunch of gym fit pics wearing these, which just sent the internet into a little bit of a mini meltdown, and prices on these shot up. And we're now getting a retro set to drop this summer for $175, and they're coming with the big bubble treatment. They look good. Yeah, they look clean. It's a nice pair. Atmos is celebrating their 25th anniversary with Bape and Adidas stamped superstars. These joints glow in the dark. Apparently they're set to drop in about a month's time. There are two different colorways, and yeah, we don't have the best images to go off. These look like some kind of like sneaky shots that someone just kind of took whilst trying to maintain a pretty low profile in the stock room. Right, Converse Japan are doing a loafer. Is it time to admit that the loafer trend is in a state of decay? As soon as all brands or all manner of people jump on a trend, that trend is no longer a trend. New Balance probably did it first and best. We've seen Hoka in recent times do it. We've seen Puma, I think, bring about loafer, and now Converse are on it. Will Nike do it, or are they using Converse to do it? I don't know. These are supposed to be dropping really soon for $134. There's a couple of different colorways, and this particular shape kind of segues into the next shoe that I feel like is potentially going to be pushed as the next trend. It's the evolution of the loafer trend. It is the boat shoe trend. And this trend is being wheeled out by two pretty big players in the game. To be fair, you've got Timberland, who are teaming up with Henderscheme. Do you guys remember Henderscheme? These are the guys that famously did the Vachetta tan Jordans all those years ago. This particular collaboration between the two is going to come at a pretty hefty price point of $325. And the question is this the next little sneaker trend? We've seen the loafers, they're done, they're dead. Is the boat shoe about to be the next trend to pop off this summer? All you need is a few fashion MFs or a few trendy cats on TikTok to start wearing these, and they will explode. For me, I don't know, man. I'm kind of old enough to pull these off unironically. Right, so we have a sneaker head sneaker movie coming to the big screen next month. This is called Sneaks. With the right pair, the sky's the limit. And it's an animated film. And from what I've seen, having watched the trailer, it's kind of following that tried and tested method at this point of bringing inanimate objects to life or anthropomorphizing your regular everyday things. A little bit like Toy Story. I guess think of Toy Story, but with a sort of sneakerhead story plot to it. I guess if you have kids and you're into sneakers together, this would be the no-brainer movie premiere to attend to, and would no doubt give you the right type of opportunity to flex some pretty cool kicks. But yeah, this is coming to the theaters on April the 18th. Right, so one of the hottest sneaker collaborative partners, at least from a hype point informed by resale prices, are these guys, Gallery Department. You guys might remember their GT 2160 collab that released at the back end of 2023 have gone on to resell for crazy numbers in the aftermarket. Some people are spending up to 2K on those particular pairs. Well, they're teaming up with Vans on the Authentic to bring out a shoe that's dropping on the 27th, and they have that familiar paint splatter theme about them. Retail price point $150, which is a bit more expensive than your regular inline Authentics, but I fancy these will sell out really quickly. Kid Cudi is selling his sneaker collection on Pharrell's Jupiter platform. This is an online auction website wherein you can go and place bids for some pretty crazy rare sneakers. We've seen people like Nigo auction some of their stuff on there before, as well as Pharrell himself, to be fair. And we've got some pretty high heat pairs up for auction, including the brown monogram Louis Vuitton Air Force One from 2022. This particular pair is supposed to fetch upwards of $60,000. The next most pricey dead stock pair he's got are the off-white Futura Dunk Lows in the Syracuse colorway, which is projected to sell for around 15 to 20K. Also has the Friends and Family Tiffany Air Force Ones. I don't know what's going on with all these celebrities having to sell up their sneaker collections. Cudi's got a crazy collection from what I know. I suppose if you did have these types of pairs just sitting around gathering dust, and maybe you had some crazy alimony to pay, or maybe you had to pay for a private jet trip, you'd have to move a pair or two like this. But yeah, some pretty crazy pairs up for auction for sure. We've had our best looks so far at the Jordan 5 Fire Red with the black tongue. Remember, this is the first time that we're getting this sneaker in this form since 1990. Yes, we have had the black tongues in the last sort of 12-13 years with the 2013 release, but that pair didn't have the Nike Air on the back, which is a very important detail if you are an old school collector or just a collector of J's in general. One of the criticisms that I've seen people throwing around about this shoe is the font of the 23 on the back heel quarter, which we now have a really good up close detailed look at, and it looks good. These look consistent with the OGs. I feel like these will definitely be a hit just because they have that real OG feel about them. They've got all the details right. The leather, even from these shots, looks pretty decent as well. So will they be as hyped up as the black metallic reimagines? I don't know, remains to be seen, but I think they could get pretty close. All right, to finish off today's episode, let's talk about this week's sneaker releases. There are two big bangers that you want to keep an eye out for, and they're both supposed to be dropping on the same day, albeit in slightly different fashion. So first of all, the SB4s. Some skate shops here in the UK that normally get premium SB products have posted they're not getting allocations. So I don't know to what extent these are going to be made really limited, but they're definitely going to be limited. It's going to be a Nike Sneakers app release, I think either later on in the month or even next month. I'm not sure if there's going to be a discrepancy between UK and US releases. But yeah, if you want to get your hands on the SB4s, the thing to do is to look around at your local skate shop socials for raffle information to get entered into for those. When it comes to the Union One Chicago's, this is going to be primarily a sneakers app release for you guys over there in the US, sneakers app release for us here in the UK. In terms of retailers wheeling out raffles for the Union Ones, I'm not sure. I haven't seen any raffles go live as yet for them. Maybe there could be some load up in the next day or two, but sneakers app 18th for sure. Again, I'm seeing pretty limited numbers on those. The pairs that have dropped so far via the Union release online are fetching pretty big numbers, around 450 to 550 pounds. I would expect that number to obviously come down closer to the release time on the 18th. But yeah, crazy releases next week. And that is it for today's episode. Thank you guys very much for taking the time to watch the video. Do me a favor and like it before you bounce. Go over and drop me a follow on IG and enjoy the rest of your day. I will see you guys on the next one. Take care for now and peace.